Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric Lind. I am the mayor of the city of Eureka, and it is a true honor to welcome you all here to the Charters of Freedom celebration. Looking at the weather here at about 3 o'clock, I was a little nervous. Like, I don't know if we're going to make it happen outside, but said a few prayers, and God has answered. We are outside. Beautiful evening for this ceremony tonight. I'd like to welcome Reverend Bob Harris from the Eureka United Methodist Church, who will lead us in our invocation this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Lind. Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, as Governor Morris put pen to paper and began the preamble to the Constitution, he started it with the words, "We the people." Recognizing that this journey that we've been on, this great experiment, is not about places or things, it's about the relationships that we have with one another. It's a relationship that began for our country on that July 4th when Thomas Jefferson acknowledged that we as people are given by our Creator, endowed by our Creator, with the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those rights, our identity as a people, have been tested over the year. It was once again a president of the United States from our state, Illinois, Abraham Lincoln, who gathered with people on a battlefield and acknowledged that this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and prayed that it shall not perish from the earth. We gather here this day to celebrate these documents of freedom. We come together to celebrate what it means to be the people represented on these living documents. We come with thankful hearts, recognizing that freedom is not free. It comes with a cost. And for our servicemen and women who are protecting our country overseas, we give you thanks and ask for their protection. And yet some of them have given the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives. Thank you, O Lord, for people, men and women, who are willing to stand up for our country and to protect the freedoms given in these documents. Pour out your Holy Spirit on us this evening. Thank you for this chance to be together as the people. Bless this gathering and bless our country. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
This time I would invite Linda Logan, Alderwoman of Ward 4, the Eureka City Council forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Presentation of colors this evening is Boy Scout Isaac Morrison.
If you will all join me, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
This time I'd have Eureka High School student Karis Mayo come forward to sing the national anthem. Would you please rise for singing the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Karis. You may be seated. I want to take this moment to recognize some of our dignitaries in attendance this evening. First, from the Eureka City Council, we have Alderman Linda Logan, Mike Hasty, Melita Williams, Jim Chambliss, Barry Littlejohn, and Jim Wilson. We have Clerk Marilyn Walters and Treasurer Lynn Hinnon. We do have some of our state officials with us this evening as well. They are still in Springfield in session right now, so they sent some people on their behalf. Tom Bennett's office is not able to join us tonight. They're in session, but we have Deb Karch and Beth Johnson from Representative Dennis Tipsworth's office, so we thank you for being present this evening as well. And from the Woodford County Board, we have Autumn Jones, so thank you. Hopefully I have not missed any other elected officials. I tried to capture you all as you walked in, so if I have, I apologize. Well, it's been a long time coming, and we are happy to have everyone here to help us celebrate and dedicate our Charters of Freedom display to the citizens of Woodford County here in Eureka. In the fall of 2021, community member Shelley Schwanke, Shelley, where are you at? Recognize you for a second. Shelley, thank you, Shelley. Shelley Schwanke contacted me about a project that some of her family had worked on and that she thought would be a great thing to bring here to Eureka. We met for coffee one Saturday morning, and she shared more of the details of the setting and her vision, and I instantly fell in love with the idea and knew this was something that we should be bringing to Eureka, Illinois, and Woodford County, and the planning commenced. When thinking about placement of the setting, there are a lot of places this would have fit in Eureka. We are lucky to be rich with history here in Eureka and really across Woodford County. Many beautiful spots this setting could have gone, from a historic courthouse in downtown Eureka, and Eureka College, where Abraham Lincoln spoke, and probably more famously, a college graduate and our 40th President Ronald Reagan graduated from. But this location here kept coming back to me. My vision was selecting a spot that is accessible to all and visible to the most people possible. And we think about this spot here, a spot that hosts thousands of people every year, from walking in the park to hosting family picnics right here under the pavilion, a special event that draws people from all over central Illinois, and even the world in some cases, to our famous 4th of July celebration and all the field trips and school children that will come out here to visit. It's great to think about the number of people that will have the opportunity to view this setting and learn about our founding documents. And I hope that this project continues to spread all across Illinois and our nation. Woodford County is the 2nd county in Illinois to receive a Charters of Freedom setting. And wouldn't it be great to see one of these in all 102 counties in the state of Illinois? This spot is special as well, as this setting is just a start in the foundation of what will grow into a larger display and setting over the next few months. As part of our Department of Natural Resources grant the city received last year, a Veterans Memorial will be built directly behind this setting. And when you walk up here, you'll see the curved outline here in the concrete behind us. That will be a circular stone garden with flags and monuments representing each branches of our military. So we look forward to even more continued expansion in this area. As we all know, Monday is Memorial Day. When we were talking about options for dates for this dedication ceremony, Memorial Day stuck out to me. The men and women who perished while serving our nation did so while supporting and defending freedom, supporting and defending these documents and all that they mean to Americans and all they mean to America. I think this is a special time to remember and reflect on that, and I would ask that we keep our minds on that this weekend as we remember all of those who made the ultimate sacrifice in support of our freedom. As part of my remarks today, I would be remiss to not provide a host of thank yous to the many people that made this possible. First, I already mentioned her, but again, I want to thank Shelley Schwanke for bringing this forward. If it wasn't for Shelley coming forward with this idea, we may not be standing here with us today. So Shelley, thank you for stepping forward and bringing this forward today. Thank you to the City Council. When I talk about selecting placement for the setting, there's a lot that goes into that. That's not a decision that, of course, I make on my own. So happy to have great council support behind this. Council has backed and supported this project from day one. So I want to thank all council members, past and present, for being involved in this process and for helping make this possible. Thank you to our donors of both labor and material, and we have some of them available here tonight, but I would like to read some of those who made that possible. First is Brad Lehman of Trinity Stones. Brad donated all the brickwork that you see around the monument here, so we certainly thank him for that. Brent Schmidtgall of Schmidtgall Concrete did all of the flat work and also assisted with the base and the tops of the monument. Jeff McClure of McClure Masonry set all of the bricks for the monument here. Rich Reeb of Failsafe Electric did all of the lighting for the case, so you can see it's beautifully lit here this evening. That'll be great to be able to come out here in the evenings and see the documents. LG and Glade Stutzman of SNS Underground for providing the underground work and boring of the conduits for all the electrical needs. Bryce Knapp of Legacy Lawn Care, he will be providing landscaping for the setting here, and Bryce was also selected as our vendor who will be providing the Veterans Memorial behind us as well, so we look forward to that work commencing soon. Eric Hasselbacher, Pete Logan, and the entire Eureka Public Works team, they really provided all the construction oversight on this project throughout the project. So they are out here from day one with the backhoe digging the hole to just this week helping get the final touches presented on this. I also want to thank all the donors who made this possible. We had several people and companies that purchased donor plates, and those will be installed within the next year, and the time capsule is sealed, and more details will be coming on that later in the program. I do want to recognize some of our major donors for the donor plates. Those are Heartland Bank, Walker Excavating, the Carl Health Foundation, the Eureka Rotary Club, the family of Peter Logan, So Bright Technologies, Bernard Krumholtz Incorporated, Goodfield State Bank, Sam Laban Chevrolet in Eureka, Heller Ford, and Farmers Insurance Chris Neff here in Eureka. Equally as important, we had almost 80 people purchase the brick pavers that you see down here in the Field of Honor. And I certainly want to recognize all of those who purchased a brick paver. If you've been up here looking, you will notice that some of the pavers are missing. Mike will explain that here in a second, and we'll cover that, but we promise your paver will arrive soon. I also want to recognize all of those who made today's ceremony possible. When it comes to party planning, I am not your person for that. I would have had more cake than we needed and no plates or forks to eat it on. So I want to thank the works of Lynn Hennon, who is our party planning extraordinaire. Thank you, Lynn, for your work on doing this. And also want to recognize Linda Logan and Melissa Brown for their hard work on making this possible. Also want to thank the Foundation Forward team. It's been fun getting to know many of you over the last few years as we have communicated and worked on this project. And thank you, Vance and Mary Jo Patterson, for the vision you had to create these settings and bring these settings to our community. And finally, I want to give a special recognition to an individual who put in an extraordinary amount of work and time and has really been a champion for this project from day one. And that is Linda Logan. The reason we have 80 brick pavers and donations and business donations and the donor plaques is really due to the works of Linda. She has sent literally hundreds of letters, made many phone calls and visits to businesses, created flyers, made lots of copies and donor sheets and information sheets. So Linda, I want to thank you for your work and your efforts on this project. It means so much to me and the citizens of Eureka. And we could give Linda a round of applause. I could really go on and on about how great this setting is and what this means to me and the city of Eureka, but as you can see from all of the names that I just read, from the businesses who donated their time, material, their talents, to those who gave monetary donations, and who will be listed on the donor plaques in the Field of Honor, this has truly been the work of our community, coming together to support this project and to make this happen. So again, I want to thank you all for being here and all for supporting this project. We're just really happy to have this here in Woodford County in Eureka, Illinois. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Unruh from the Foundation Forward team. He will come forward and introduce the rest of his team. Thank you, Mike.
Good evening, Illinois. Great to be here today. Thank you to the weather for holding off. With every small nonprofit or large corporation, you face some speed bumps along the way. Everything doesn't go to plan, and this project has come to this beautiful conclusion tonight, but it hasn't been without some challenges. And I know that there are some of you in the crowd who purchased donors' papers to recognize your family members or loved ones, and you may not see them in our Field of Honor tonight. We engrave all of our donors' papers, these documents, and the donors' recognition plaques in-house in order to keep costs down as a nonprofit. And unfortunately, our engraving machine recently broke down on us. So we will get the rest of the engraved papers here in your Field of Honor as soon as possible. But for those who are missing papers this evening, I would like to recognize them for their contributions. When I call your name, if you will please raise your hand or stand. The Carl Foundation, Eric Suttolt and Eureka Family Dental, Kelly Allen, Rhonda Wetzler, Chuck Davidson, Charles Davidson, Eric Hasselbacher, Dan Herod and Dan Herod Law, Wayne Farney, Amy Mueller, Jordan and Catherine Bunting, Alan Helsel, Dennis Schumacher, Teresa Gurman, Heller Ford Sales, Jamie McFarland, Gary Allen, John Gramp, and Miriam Meyer. Thank you all for your contribution, as well as from those who Mayor Eric Lind recognized earlier. If you purchased a donor's plate, those will be engraved and placed on a donor's pedestal that will be installed here at a later date. If you purchased a paver, those will be installed in your Field of Honor very soon. We come back for a time capsule ceremony, and you will notice that Connie Snyder our office manager has been bringing around a sign-in sheet. Before you leave, please make sure that you see Connie. Connie's over here. Raise your hand, Connie. All right. Please make sure that you see Connie and sign those sheets, because they're going to be included in a time capsule that will be sealed inside of your setting to be opened on the 300th anniversary of the Constitution. We want to make sure that all of your names are included. Connie also has some order forms. If you have not yet had a chance to purchase a donor's plaque or a paver, you can still do that today. You can continue to do that for months to come until all of the spots are taken. But we have order forms over here as well, and some goodies for the kids, stickers and pins and other things. So be sure to see Connie at the table over here before you leave. I would like to recognize some other members of our team who are here today. From our construction team that have been working all of this past week to place the pavers in the ground and to put the finishing touches on your setting. We have Larry Coffey and Amanda Coffey. Our honorary cannoneers will soon report to our operations manager, Perry Snyder. My name is Mike Unruh, and I am the Director of Communications and Resources. So if you are here today with the media and you would like to share some of your pictures, to share links and follow our Facebook page, Instagram, we will also be sending out press releases. So if you're here with the media, please make sure that you get in touch with me before the ceremony ends so I can get your contact information and send you a press release and give you our social media connections as well. We have both of our founders with us this evening, and I'm very honored and privileged to introduce Mary Jo Patterson and our keynote speaker for the evening, Mr. Vance Patterson.
You are to be commended for making the effort to be here this evening. My question is, are you ready to be a part of history? Because we're going to dedicate your charters of freedom. It's going to be here for the next 300 to 500 years, and your future generations are going to know you were here. My name is Vance Patterson. I'm a father of 4, married 49 years to my wife, Mary Jo. Yes, she is a saint. We are from Burke County in North Carolina. That's in the western part, about halfway between Hickory and Asheville. I'm a businessman. I have a company started in 1989 to make industrial fans. We actually make things out of metal, ship them across the country and around the world. I'm a very proud American manufacturer. Well, thank you. I'm going to tell you a little about the inspiration behind the foundation that makes these settings possible. I'm going to tell you a little about the setting itself, and then I'm going to give you a challenge to take with you. About 13 years ago, Mary Jo and I were up in Washington, D.C. We decided to go to the National Archives because we'd never seen the original documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We found ourselves wandering down these hallways, looking at different displays, and then it opened up into this large room. We walked through these big bronze gates into the rotunda, and there on the other side are the founding documents. They're in chronological order. The Declaration of Independence is on the left, 4 pages of the Constitution in the middle, and Bill of Rights on the right. This is when we learned that these are known as the Charters of Freedom. Now, one of the things I liked, once you got in the rotunda, there were no lines. We just wandered around looking at different exhibits. When we got a chance, we stepped up and looked at the documents. And I will never forget the feeling I had the first time I saw the Declaration of Independence. Something our founding fathers had actually penned. And then looked down and saw their signatures. Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Rutledge, Wilson, and the others. I just got goosebumps. And then we moved over and saw the first page of the Constitution. And those 3 words, we the people. I actually got a lump in my throat. Mary Jo was wiping tears out of her eyes. It was really an emotional experience for us. Well, the following year, back in Burke County, got to thinking about that experience, and the thought came to me, what if I could duplicate that experience and bring it back to the citizens of Burke County? So I told Mary Jo about the thought. She liked it, so we started working on a project. And the scope of the project was to design and build a replica of the Charters of Freedom, put it in a central location in Burke County. It had to have high visibility, high foot traffic, and easy access for school children and veterans. It took us over 2 years to get this done, even though it was a gift from Mary Jo and I to the county. But after a late night joint session between the Burke County Commissioners and the Morganton City Council, they agreed to accept the gift and give us a suitable location. Well, there was something we hadn't told anybody. You see, we'd only seen these documents once, and there are no prints, no measurements, dimensions, nothing available to the public. So the next morning, we got in the car, drove back up to Washington, walked into the rotunda, and now they won't let you take out a tape measure and start measuring a national treasure. That's not working. Okay. Well, we had a plan. Always technical. But we had a plan. We walked into the rotunda. Mary Jo went one way and I went another. And I stepped up in front of the Constitution and I did this. And I was standing in the middle, so I knew the Constitution was about 12 feet long. Meanwhile, Mary Jo is walking up to the documents, turning around, facing the audience, and marking on her body the different elevations. And then we left before anybody asked us what we were doing. So I tell people, while your setting here may not be exactly what's up in Washington, keep in mind it's based on 2 paces of a short guy and 3 marks on my wife's body. We Americans have our ways. Well, on July 2nd, 2014, we dedicated the first Charters of Freedom setting outside of Washington, D.C., in downtown Morganton, North Carolina, on the historic Burke County Courthouse Green. Now, Mary Jo and I enjoyed this process so much, and it was so well received, we decided to do another one. And this one went in a little town of Murphy in Cherokee County, as far west in North Carolina as you can go. That was dedicated on September 17th, Constitution Day, 2014. The third one went downtown Asheville in Buncombe County. Now, during this time, we decided to set up a 501c3 because we knew we would be doing more. Let me tell you real quickly what the principles of our foundation are. Number 1 is education. Education to preserve American history at the time of the founding of our country, and to teach civics so all will know how government is meant to serve and protect we the people, federal, state, and local. Number 2 is access. You see, not everybody can get up to Washington, D.C. It took Mary Jo and I over 60 years to get there the first time. So we want to provide access to these founding documents in a proper setting in communities. And number 3 is community. Having your Charters of Freedom setting here in Eureka, Illinois, will give you a place where you can gather to celebrate, to honor, and to reflect. Now, to date, we have gifted and dedicated 55 Charters of Freedom settings across the country. In North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Nebraska, South Dakota, Virginia, Alabama, as far west as Carson City, Nevada, and as far north as Wasilla, Alaska. Yours is the 55th. And as mentioned earlier, the second here in Illinois. The first one was down in Jacksonville. We dedicated that back in 2015. Because that's where my wife grew up, and I knew I needed to get one there. All right, let me tell you a little about your setting. One of the things I learned in life is that if you want a setting or a monument to last, you put more underground than above ground. This is not a tip-over monument. Your foundation goes down 3.5 feet. It is solid, reinforced poured concrete coming up into a solid core. Just the foundation and core of this centerpiece weighs over 38,000 pounds, over 19 tons. There are 6 documents displayed. Each one is on 1/4-inch etched bronze and weighs over 60 pounds. The medallion on the front is very special. The eagle represents the Declaration of Independence, proud, bold, defiant. The 7 stars above the eagle represent the 7 articles of the United States Constitution. And the 10 stars under the eagle represent the first approved 10 amendments, your Bill of Rights. Now, people ask us, why are we doing this? And we tell them, yes, it's very expensive, but we believe it's more important than money. We believe it gives us a direct link to our founding fathers by helping to preserve what it is they gave this country, a government to serve and protect. From the beginning, this has been about education. We learned that we had 4 founding fathers who were very big on education: Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and James Madison. They believed that in order to understand government, in order to control government, you need to understand how it works, that you cannot control what you do not understand. James Madison, a 5-foot 4-inch rock star of his era, wrote in 1822, "A people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives." You wouldn't believe how many people come up to us when we're building these and they say, "That's it? Just 4 pages to the Constitution?" And we tell them that's it. All of our government and our laws are based on those 4 pages. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know the first 10 amendments are our Bill of Rights. I guarantee there are people hearing that today for the first time. You see, education. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't been calling this a monument. The definition of a monument is a memorial to honor a person or an event. This is not a memorial. This is an active, hands-on educational supplement for your school's curriculum. Imagine, if you will, school teachers bringing their 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes down to your Charters of Freedom for an annual field trip. While they're here, they'll learn a little about the documents, a little about our government, the founding fathers, but they'll also learn about local history and local heroes. This is happening already across the country in the communities that have their own Charters of Freedom. And the children love these field trips. Active, hands-on, learning about history and seeing. There are 3,142 counties, boroughs, parishes, independent cities, census zones, and the District of Columbia in the United States. Our long-term goal is to place a Charters of Freedom setting in as many of those communities as possible. Our hope is that our future generations will come from those communities that have their own Charters of Freedom, that the children will grow up not just talking about the Constitution and Bill of Rights in Washington, but they'll be talking about their Constitution and their Bill of Rights, the ones they grew up with, right here in Eureka, Illinois. Now, I told you I was going to leave you with a challenge. Our founding fathers were challenged by the greatest force on earth in their day, the British Empire. They protested, they revolted, they fought a war and won a war, all the while setting up a government that is still in effect over 230 years later and replicated by more than 60% of the countries around the world. They met their challenge. Mayor Lynn and Linda Logan were challenged with bringing a Charters of Freedom setting here to Eureka. As of today, they have met their challenge. Your challenge actually began about 7 years ago. Mary Jo and I just finished dedicating a Charter of Freedom setting at Hanover College in southern Indiana. And we were getting ready to leave, and I looked across the campus center, and there was Ron Wells, African-American facilities engineer, who had helped me a lot during the dedication. And I said, I need to go thank this guy again. So I walked over and I said, Ron, thanks again for all the help you gave me. And he said, well, thank you for making this contribution to our community. And I said what I usually say, you're welcome. Just make sure they use it after I leave. And he said, Mr. Patterson, I've already done that. He said, I brought my son over last night, and we had the talk. And I said, Ron, that means more to me than anything anybody's ever said after a dedication. Way to go. So here's your challenge. You bring your child, your grandchild, your niece, your nephew, or other family member down here to your Charters of Freedom, and you have the talk like Ron Wells did. You tell them that having these rights gives them an advantage over the rest of the world to pursue their passion, to chase their dreams, to get out of life what they want to get out of life. You do that. And Mary Jo and I, all of Foundation, and everybody who contributed to this, as far as this gift is concerned, we'll call it even. Thank you. And now, will Mayor Lind come up? And Linda Logan. And Mary Jo, please. Surprised you, didn't we? All right. The Charters of Freedom setting located at Eureka Lake Park, 203 Lake Road, Eureka, Illinois, hereby gifted from Foundation Forward Incorporated of Burke County, North Carolina, to the children, veterans, and citizens of Woodford County, City of Eureka, Illinois. All responsibilities and care for this setting displaying the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights are hereby accepted by Woodford County, May 24, 2024. Lindy, do you want to say anything? All right, we've got two more little quick things to do. We're going to do, a little mention of the time capsule in the back. We're not going to seal it today. It'll probably be sealed in probably about 6 months. We're going to send out requests for letters from people from law enforcement, from military, Boy Scouts would be great, academics, mayor, city council, just different people, and ask them to write letters to be, which we will not read. We will seal them, put them in the time capsule. There'll be one in them from me and some others, and other memorabilia from the era. We will seal that time capsule, and it won't be opened until September 17th, 2087. So if any of you are here, we are giving the combination to Mayor Lim. And if there's a problem opening it, you know who had it last. All right, we're going to do a cannon salute. I knew I wanted to do this at my first dedication, so we've got one set up. If the cannoneers will all report to Perry Snyder, Command Sergeant Major, U.S. Army retired. While they're doing that, I'll tell you, I wanted to do a cannon salute, but I didn't know how many times to fire the cannon. This is back in 2014. So I did some research, and I learned that the cannon salute started back in the 17th century. Ships pulling into port wanted to show the port that they meant no harm. So they turned their cannons and fired 3 rounds to sea. Well, the port, having more cannon and more powder, would answer 7 in kind. And that's where a 21-gun salute would come from. So I knew that wasn't right. And then I remembered I'd done business up in Edinburgh, Scotland. And the Scottish told me the story about how they liked the way the British marked the time of day at noon by firing 12 rounds. So the ship's captains and the shopkeepers could set their watches or their clocks. Well, the Scottish, being Scottish, and that is my heritage, reasoned why fire 12 rounds at noon when they could wait 1 hour and save 11 rounds. So every day there is a howitzer up in the old castle in Edinburgh that goes off at 1 o'clock, so you can set your clock. So I knew my number was somewhere between 1 and 21, and I decided on 7, partly because of history, but also because there are 7 articles in the United States Constitution. Will my drummer please come up? We will fire 1 round for each article of the Constitution. My drummer today is Blake Andrews. Canadiers, are you ready?
Canadiers are ready.
Drum roll, please. Article 1 defines the legislative branch, composed of the House of Representatives and the Senate. It describes their powers and responsibilities. Article 2 defines the executive branch, the qualifications for president and vice president, their powers, responsibilities, and means of removal from office. Article 3 sets up the judicial branch, the Supreme Court and the lower court system. It protects the right of trial by jury and defines treason. Article 4 gives the states the right to make and carry out their own laws related to the people and problems of their states, so long as those laws do not conflict with the United States Constitution. Article 5 outlines the process of amending the United States Constitution. Article 6 sets up the status of the United States Constitution as the supreme law of the land, to which all leaders, including the legislative, executive, and judicial, must be loyal. Article 7 addresses the ratification, declares that the Constitution should take effect if 9 of 13 states ratify. Children, veterans, and all citizens of Woodford County, I give you your charters of freedom. And that concludes our ceremony. Thank you for coming. Y'all were great.
Everyone, please make sure to sign in on the sign-in sheets if you have not yet done that. Also, please feel free to come up, take pictures of the setting, get your pictures taken with the setting. Anyone who spoke, performed today, please come up. We'd like to have a group picture. We also have lots of cake and cupcakes in the pavilion. Please make your way into the pavilion to grab some cake and a drink, please. Thank you.